Alan Harubi and the Price of Greed.
I need somebody at 1217 Bin Street.
1217?
I think they've been murdered. Yes, the Rubies. Herbie.
What's the address, ma'am?
1217.
1217 what?
Bin Street.
What's going on?
I don't know. I just got here. I work for Mrs. Ruby, and all three of them are laying down on the floor in the kitchen.
Ma'am, you're going to have to calm down. There's what?
There's Mr. and Mrs. Ruby and Catherine Ruby laying on the floor. I think they're dead.
They're not breathing? There's 3 subjects?
Yes, they're ice cold.
Have you checked to make sure they're breathing?
Yes, Bill.
And they're not?
No, they're not.
You said 12... Ma'am, listen to me. Calm down, okay? 1217 Bent Tree? And it's a family?
Yes.
In October 2014, a shocking crime rocked the small town of Duncan, Oklahoma. A seemingly privileged college student, Alan Harubi, committed an unthinkable act, murdering his entire family in cold blood. But behind the brutal crime lay a tale of greed, entitlement, and a craving for a lavish lifestyle that would ultimately destroy everything. Alan Harubi grew up in an affluent family. His father, John Harubi, was a respected newspaper publisher, and his mother, Tinker, was known for her warmth and kindness. They provided Alan and his sister, Catherine, with every opportunity for success, but for Alan, it was never enough. Alan developed a dangerous obsession with wealth and status. On social media, he flaunted designer clothes, luxury vacations, and expensive accessories, but beneath the surface, he was living a lie. Alan was deeply in debt, having maxed out credit cards and borrowed heavily to maintain his image of opulence. In desperation, Alan turned to his parents for money. They had already bailed him out of trouble multiple times, but in 2014, they finally said no, and that rejection sparked a deadly plan. On October 9th, 2014, Alan returned to his family home. Armed with a 9mm pistol, he shot and killed his parents and his 17-year-old sister, Catherine. Investigators would later describe the scene as horrific, a family torn apart by greed. At first glance, the photo above looks innocent, where you can see Alan Harubi with one of his friends on a hotel bed, but the truth is far, far more grim. This photo was taken the next day after he murdered his family, where he would drive down to Dallas for a OU Texas football game in what I would assume to be an attempt to build an alibi. What kind of sick person can just go about their lives and go socialize hours after they killed their family? It just goes to show that you never truly know who people are sometimes. Imagine how the people who were with him felt after they found out what he had did. In 2015, Alan Harubi was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The town of Duncan was left reeling, haunted by the senseless loss of 3 beloved community members at the hands of someone they trusted. This story is one of privilege that turned to darkness, a chilling reminder of how greed and entitlement can lead to unimaginable tragedy. A once promising life now serves as a cautionary tale of destruction and loss. It's almost hard for me to fathom. I just can't understand how anybody can kill their immediate family, let alone their parents and brothers or sisters. Corey Von Vagel, The Final Frontier. In the heart of the wilderness, where towering peaks scrape the sky and dense forests whisper secrets, a chilling story unfolded. This is the haunting tale of Corey Van Vegel, a seasoned hiker who vanished into the shadows of nature's unforgiving terrain. I want to start off by saying Corey was no novice. An experienced trekker with a love for the wild, she had planned a solo hike through the remote region of the Mardi Himal Track in Nepal, a trail known for its breathtaking beauty and treacherous challenges. Equipped with everything she needed and confidence in her skills, she set out alone. But what began as an adventure into serenity soon turned into a harrowing mystery. On the morning of February 20th, 2018, Corey's journey took a dark turn. a final text message to her family read, "Starting the descent. Signal's weak, but I'll check in soon." That message would be the last they'd ever hear from her. Search teams were deployed when Corey failed to return on her scheduled date. What they found, or rather, what they didn't find, sent shivers down their spines. Her campsite untouched, her supplies undisturbed, and no sign of struggle. It was as if the forest had swallowed her whole. Days turned into weeks. Theories emerged. Some whispered of missteps, a fatal fall into the unseen ravine. Others hinted at a darker possibility, foul play, or even the supernatural. But the only truth was silence, a void where answers should have been. Months later, a breakthrough came, or so it seemed. A local hiker discovered what happened to be fragments of Corey's belongings deep within the forest. Yet even this discovery raised more questions than it answered. Why were these items miles off her intended route, and where was Corey? To this day, the disappearance of Corey Van Wiegel remains an enigma. The wilderness she cherished became her final frontier, a labyrinth of nature's beauty and brutality. Her story is a chilling reminder of how fragile our existence is against the vast, indifferent power of the wild. Was it the terrain? Was it something or someone lurking in the shadows? Or did nature itself conspire to keep her secret? The truth lies hidden beneath the trees, lost to the mountains. Hans Rosner and Silke Bischoff, a photo worth 1,000 words.
Wie geht's Ihnen?
Ja, gut. Also, ich habe jetzt Angst davor, dass die Polizei nicht darauf eingeht und es nochmal so passiert, dass jemand umgebracht wird oder so.
6 hours after this interview, this woman will be dead, and the man next to her has already murdered a 15-year-old boy. In the summer of 1988, the streets of Germany became the stage for a harrowing nightmare, a hostage crisis that spiraled out of control, leaving a trail of death, chaos, and haunting memories etched into history. This is the brutal story of the Gladbeck hostage crisis and the chilling photograph that immortalized its darkest moment. It began on August 16, 1988, in the city of Gladbeck. Dieter Degowski and Hans-Jürgen Rosner stormed into a local bank, guns in hand, and took 2 employees hostage. Their demand was clear, money and safe passage, but what followed was anything but simple. The German media descended like vultures, broadcasting every detail in real time. Cameras and reporters swarmed the scene, turning to a desperate standoff in a twisted spectacle. The robbers, emboldened by the attention, began a dangerous road trip with their hostages in tow. For over 54 hours, the pair led police and journalists on a cat-and-mouse chase across 2 countries. Along the way, they seized additional hostages, including a young woman named Silke Bischoff, whose fate would become a symbol of this tragedy. This photograph, haunting and grotesque in its audacity, captured the chilling intersection of crime, media frenzy, and human despair. Rosner's smirk, the terrified look in Silke's eyes, and the cold still of a weapon tell a story that words cannot. The media's role in this crisis was unprecedented and deeply controversial. Reporters interviewed the robbers live, posing questions while the hostages trembled within arm's reach. This macabre theater blurred the line between journalism and complicity. On August 18th, the crisis reached its bloody conclusion. At a highway rest stop, German special forces attempted a rescue. Chaos erupted. Gunfire echoed through the air. When the dust settled, Silke Bischoff lay dead, a tragic casualty of greed, miscalculation, and sheer human failure. The aftermath left Germany reeling. The Gladbeck hostage crisis wasn't just a crime, it was a failure of systems, a dark reflection of media sensationalism, and a stark reminder of the fragility of life when violence reigns. A single photograph, a frozen moment in time, speaks louder than words. It reminds us of the lives lost, the questions unanswered, and the scars that tragedies like Gladbeck leave behind. These photos may seem innocent at first glance, but their backstories remind us of the fragility of life and the weight of untold stories. Behind every smile, every candid moment, there can lie a haunting truth. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales that uncover the unseen.